Mrs. Mamoni. Thank you so much for being Amar Baba.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to discuss what is bank reconciliation statement, what is Cashbook, what is PassBook, and most importantly, when we withdraw money from bank, why does bank passbook says your account has been debited instead of credited. So let's get started. Chalo, shuru kara jaak. What is bank reconciliation statement? Bank reconciliation statement is an analytical statement that explains the difference between the balances of the passbook and the cashbook. Most of the time, the balance of the passbook and the balance of the cashbook do not match, and which is why bank reconciliation statement or BRS is prepared. Okay? And before proceeding any further, we need some fundamental knowledge of two items, Cashbook and PassBook, in order to know or understand what is bank reconciliation statement in depth. But most importantly, let us understand, when we withdraw money from bank, why does bank passbook says your account has been debited instead of credited? Now let's understand logically. Let's analyze. For that, we need to have a clear conception of the chapters, journal, ledger and cashbook. Okay, now let's see the transaction when we withdraw money from bank. The transaction is on 5th April 2022, cash withdrawn from bank, rupees 5,000 for office use by Mr. Kapoor. So, this is the business of Mr. Kapoor. So, the journal entries are recorded in the books of Mr. Kapoor from his perspective or from his point of view. Okay? So, what will be the journal entry? So, the journal entry will be in the books of Mr. Kapoor from his perspective or from his point of view. He has recorded in the journal 2022 on 5th April, cash account debit 5,000 to bank account being cash withdrawn from bank for office use. Now let's understand logically. Let's analyze why cash account is debit. According to the 3 golden rules of accounting or according to the traditional method, cash account comes under real account. Okay? According to real account, what comes in is debit. Here, when cash is withdrawn from bank by Mr. Kapoor, cash comes into the business. Okay? So, cash account will be debited by rupees 5,000. Understood? Now, why bank account is credit? According to the 3 golden rules of accounting or according to the traditional method, bank account comes under personal account. According to personal account, the giver of the benefit is credit. Here, when cash is withdrawn from bank for office use by Mr. Kapoor, bank is the giver of cash. So, bank account will be credited by rupees 5,000. Understood? Now, let's see according to the modern method. Okay? Now, why cash account is debit? According to the modern method, when cash rupees 5,000 is withdrawn from bank, it is an increase in an asset because cash balance is increased. So, cash account will be debited by rupees 5,000 because according to the modern method, an increase in an asset is debit. Okay? Now, why bank account is credit? Here, when cash is withdrawn from bank for office use by Mr. Kapoor, it is a decrease in an asset because bank balance is reduced by rupees 5,000. So, bank account will be credited by rupees 5,000 because according to the modern method, a decrease in an asset, that is cash at bank, is credit. Okay? Now, let's understand why Mr. Kapoor records 5,000 on the credit side in the bank column of the cash book. But for that, we have to know what is cash book. I have already discussed what is cash book, a single column cash book, double column cash book, triple column cash book. Now let me tell you once again. Now what is cash book? A cash book is a book in which cash receipts and cash payments are recorded in the cash column of the cash book, and all banking transactions relating to the receipts and payments are also recorded in this book in the bank column. Okay, that means all cash receipts are recorded in the cash column on the debit side of the cash book, and all cash payments are recorded in the cash column on the credit side of the double column cash book, and all checks received are recorded in the bank column on the debit side of the double column cash book, and all checks paid are recorded in the bank column on the credit side of the double column cash book. So businessman maintains a double column cash book. First column is cash column and the second column is bank column. Please remember, Mr. Kapoor has recorded the journal entry from his perspective or from his point of view. Please understand, when money is withdrawn from bank by an account holder, Mr. Kapoor, his assets, that is his cash at bank, is decreased by rupees 5,000. Hence, Mr. Kapoor has recorded the amount on the credit side in the bank column. Okay, since bank balance has been reduced by 5,000, Mr. Kapoor has recorded 5,000 in the bank column on the credit side. See, bank to bank account on the credit side. So, he has recorded 5,000 in the bank column. See, he has credited bank. Mr. Kapoor has credited bank account. So that is the reason Mr. Kapoor has credited bank account. So that is the reason he has recorded 5,000 in the bank column on the credit side. Okay, by cash account, see, this is a contra. In the ledger folio column, bank account 5,000. Okay, he has also recorded two bank accounts, see, contra 5,000 in the cash column on the debit side. Since this is a contra entry, he has recorded on both the sides. To bank account, 5,000 in the cash column on the debit side, and by cash account in the bank column on the credit side as well. Because this is a contra, so it should be recorded on both the sides. Since this is a contra entry, Mr. Kapoor has recorded on the debit side in the cash column to bank account 5,000 in the cash column, as well as by cash account on the credit side in the bank column 5,000. See, C stands for contra. On both the sides he has recorded. But as we know, there are two columns in a double column cash book. One is cash column and the other a bank column. But here we are dealing with only with the bank column in bank reconciliation statement or BRS, because BRS only covers those transactions which relate to the bank. Okay, so we will only look at the bank column. So 5,000 has been recorded by Mr. Kapoor in the bank column on the credit side. Why? Because Mr. Kapoor has credited bank account. What is the journal entry? The journal entry is cash account debit to bank account. Now why Mr. Kapoor has credited bank account? Because his bank balance is reduced by rupees 5,000. So that is the reason he has recorded rupees 5,000 in the bank column on the credit side, because his bank balance is reduced by 5,000. Okay, please understand, when money is withdrawn from bank by an account holder, Mr. Kapoor, his assets, that is cash at bank, is reduced or decreased. Hence, Mr. Kapoor has recorded the amount 5,000 on the credit side in the bank column of the cash book. Okay? He has credited bank account and has made a credit entry in the cash book from his perspective and from his point of view, not from bank's perspective. Okay, please remember, he has recorded rupees 5,000 in the bank column on the credit side from his perspective. He has recorded the journal entry from his perspective and not from bank's perspective. That is the reason when he withdraws cash from bank, he has debited cash account but credited bank account. Okay, understood? Please remember, every business, in this case Mr. Kapoor, maintains accounts as per his perspective or his point of view. So Mr. Kapoor has recorded rupees 5,000 on the credit side in the bank column of the double column cash book, and Mr. Kapoor has credited bank account too, because Mr. Kapoor has recorded the journal entry from his perspective or from his point of view in his books of journal. Okay, and he has recorded rupees 5,000 in the bank column on the credit side because he has recorded the amount from his perspective. Okay, and please remember, cash book is always maintained by the firms. Please remember, every business, in this case Mr. Kapoor, maintains accounts or journal or cash book as per his perspective or as per his point of view. Okay, please remember, in the books of Mr. Kapoor, journal entry has been recorded as per Mr. Kapoor's perspective or from his point of view. Similarly, in the double column cash book, Mr. Kapoor has recorded rupees 5,000 in the bank column on the credit side from his perspective or from his point of view and not from bank's point of view. Okay, understood? Now let's see from the bank's perspective or from bank's point of view. Please remember, every business, in this case bank, maintains account as per their perspective and not from the point of view of their customers or clients, in this case Mr. Kapoor. Please remember, Mr. Kapoor is a customer or creditor or client of the bank. So let's see and analyze the journal entry in the books of bank from bank's perspective or from bank's point of view. So the transaction is on 5th April 2022, cash withdrawn from bank rupees 5,000 for office use by Mr. Kapoor. So what will be the journal entry? 2022 April 5th, Mr. Kapoor account debit to cash account 5,000 being cash withdrawn for office use from bank in the books of bank. Mr. Kapoor account debit to cash account. Bank has debited Mr. Kapoor, whereas Mr. Kapoor has credited bank account. Let me show you. See, in the books of bank, bank has debited Mr. Kapoor account. But in the books of Mr. Kapoor has credited bank account. Understood? In the books of Mr. Kapoor has debited cash account. But in the books of bank has credited cash account. Now let's analyze and understand. So now let's see and analyze the journal entry in the books of bank from bank's perspective or from bank's point of view. So the journal entry in the books of bank from bank's perspective is Mr. Kapoor account debit to cash account. Now why Mr. Kapoor account debit? According to the 3 golden rules of accounting or according to the traditional method, Mr. Kapoor account comes under personal account. According to personal account, the receiver of the benefit is debit. Here, when cash is withdrawn from bank by Mr. Kapoor for office use, Mr. Kapoor is the receiver of cash. So, Mr. Kapoor account will be debited by rupees 5,000. Okay. Now, why cash account is credited? According to the 3 golden rules of accounting or according to the traditional method, cash account comes under real account. According to real account, what goes out is credit. Here, when cash is withdrawn from bank, cash goes out from the bank. So, cash account will be credited by rupees 5,000. Okay. Please don't forget, this journal entry is recorded from bank's perspective and not from Mr. Kapoor's perspective. Okay. Now, why Mr. Kapoor account debit according to the modern method? Please remember, Mr. Kapoor is a customer or client or creditor of the bank. Please remember, the money in Mr. Kapoor's account is the amount the bank owes him. It is the liability of the bank because this is not bank's money. Rupees 5,000 is Mr. Kapoor's money. So, this is the liability of bank. So, when rupees 5,000 is withdrawn from bank by Mr. Kapoor, bank's liability is decreased. Okay. According to the modern method, a decrease in a liability is always debit. Okay. Please understand, when cash is deposited into bank by an account holder or bank customer, the money in his account is the amount the bank owes him back. So this is the liability of the bank because this is not bank's money. But when cash is withdrawn from bank, bank's liability is decreased. And according to the modern method, a decrease in a liability is always debit. That is the reason Mr. Kapoor account is debited by bank, because bank's liability has decreased. That is the reason bank has debited Mr. Kapoor account, because according to the modern method, a decrease in a liability is debit. Understood? Now why cash account is credit according to the modern method? Cash is credit because when cash is withdrawn from bank, there is a decrease in an asset. According to the modern method, a decrease in an asset is always credit. So cash account is credited by rupees 5,000. Understood? Now this journal entry has been recorded by bank in the books of bank from bank's perspective or from bank's point of view. Understood? Now let's see why bank has recorded rupees 5,000 in the debit column and not in the credit column according to bank's perspective or from bank's point of view. Let's analyze. Now before that, what is PassBook? As the book passes from the banker to customer, it is known as PassBook. A PassBook is issued to the bank customers or bank clients when a bank account is opened. It contains entries relating to the deposits and withdrawals made by the customer from his or her bank account. The PassBook contains a true copy of the customer's account as it appears in the bank's ledger. And please remember, whenever the bank customer deposits cash or checks or earns interest, a credit entry is made in the PassBook in the deposits column or in the credit column. Okay? And whenever the bank customer withdraws money from his or her account, a debit entry is made in the withdrawal column or debit column. Understood? Please remember, a PassBook is very useful for an account holder or bank customer because he can obtain full information about his or her bank transactions from the PassBook. Now let's see the format of the PassBook. The first column is for date. The second column is particulars. Here the bank staff writes cash deposits or cash withdrawal. The third column is for check number. The fourth column is for withdrawal or debit. The fifth column is for deposits or credit. And the last column is for balance, final balance. Okay. Now see, when Mr. Kapoor withdraws money, rupees 5,000 from bank for his office use, please remember, since bank has debited Mr. Kapoor account in the books of bank, that is the reason bank has recorded 5,000 in the debit column, which is known as withdrawal column. Okay, this is the reason bank has debited 5,000. That is the reason when we withdraw money from bank, bank PassBook always says your account has been debited instead of credited. Please remember, from the bank's point of view, the journal entry is Mr. Kapoor account debit to cash account. Okay. Since bank has debited Mr. Kapoor account, so rupees 5,000 bank has recorded in the debit column. Please understand, Mr. Kapoor is a creditor or customer from bank's perspective. So when Mr. Kapoor withdraws rupees 5,000 from bank, bank's liabilities decreases. That is the reason bank has recorded rupees 5,000 in the debit column. Whereas in the books of Mr. Kapoor has credited bank account. Let me show you. See, bank has debited Mr. Kapoor account from bank's perspective or from bank's point of view. Whereas Mr. Kapoor has credited bank account from Mr. Kapoor's perspective or from Mr. Kapoor's point of view. Since bank has debited Mr. Kapoor account, bank has recorded 5,000 in the debit column of the PassBook, which is known as withdrawal. Okay. And since Mr. Kapoor has credited bank account, Mr. Kapoor has recorded 5,000 on the credit side in the bank column. Understood? So that is the reason when we withdraw money from bank passbook always says your account has been debited instead of credited, because in the books of bank debits the customer always. In this case, Mr. Kapoor account has been debited by bank. Whereas in the books of the customer credits the bank account. Understood? That is the reason when we withdraw money from bank passbook always says your account has been debited instead of credited. Understood? So I hope you understood now. I hope it's clear now. The bank's perspective and the businessman or the customer, Mr. Kapoor's perspective, is the reason for this confusion. Though both are absolutely correct according to their perspective or according to their point of view. Please remember, Mr. Kapoor has recorded the journal entry or the cash book from his perspective or from his point of view. Similarly, bank has recorded the journal entry and passbook from bank's perspective or from bank's point of view. It's all about perspective and nothing else. Both Mr. Kapoor and bank are correct. There is no confusion. So the bank's perspective and the businessman or the bank customer or the bank client, Mr. Kapoor's perspective, is the reason for this confusion, though both of them are correct. So when we'll do bank reconciliation problem, you'll understand the perspective better. Please remember, because of the perspective of the businessman or customer, credit balance as per cash book indicates the amount which has been withdrawn in excess of the deposits. Credit balance as per cash book is also called overdraft balance as per cash book. Okay. Similarly, and because of the perspective of the bank, debit balance as per PassBook indicates the amount which has been withdrawn in excess of deposits. Debit balance as per PassBook is also called overdraft balance as per PassBook. Okay. You'll understand this when we'll do bank reconciliation statement problem or BRS problem. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your precious time. I sincerely hope this was helpful. I'll catch you in the next video. Till then, keep rising and keep shining. Bye-bye. Take care. Stay safe and stay blessed always.